Donald Trump is angrier than ever because at a rally today in Wisconsin, not only did Governor Tim Walz land some devastating blows on Donald Trump, but he was accompanied by President Barack Obama. It was an incredible duo that has left Donald Trump devastated. Obviously, his little fifis are hurt. And so tonight at his rally, he threw an absolute tantrum on stage, a complete meltdown, which was made even worse because a lot of the time when we see an angry Donald Trump filled with grievance, lashing out, he loses his ability to speak, which he did a little bit tonight, but he also lost his ability to work his motor skills. We kind of saw a flailing, stumbling Donald Trump. It was an absolute disaster, and we are going to get into all of it. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way, and it really means the world to me. Now let's get into this angry, aggrieved, and out of it Trump.
We're going to have it back there very soon. With 4 more years of Kamala Harris, North Carolina will be an economic wasteland. That's what's going to happen. The rest of your companies are going to move out. Everybody knows that. The smart people know. She's the only one that doesn't know it. Low IQ. She's a low IQ individual. And we've had that for 4 years. We don't need another 4. No country could take that. Can you imagine what President Xi, you know, I got to know him very well. He's a fierce individual. The press, the fake news, hates when I say that he's a brilliant man. He runs 1.4 billion people with an iron fist. If I say he's a brilliant man, they say, he called him a okay, he's not a smart man at all. These people are crazy back there, I'm telling you.
Like I said, the grievance was at a level 11 tonight. He is angrier than ever. He feels the pressure continuing to build on him because, as we always say, Donald Trump isn't running for president. He's running to avoid prison. And so he is lashing out even more and projecting all of his insecurities on Kamala Harris, continuing to say that she's a low IQ individual. And the projecting that he did in this next clip might be his worst yet.
That's a big group back there. You know where Kamala is today? They don't want to tell you. She's... No. You don't know where she is? You know where she is? She's sleeping. She took a day off. She's got no energy at all. Her speeches last for about 15 minutes.
We are getting reports from Donald Trump's own staffers that he is exhausted, unable to complete regular interviews with Fox hosts holding his hand and lobbing him softball questions. He can't even do those interviews, let alone an interview with 60 Minutes when someone is going to ask him some honest and substantive questions. He can't do that. And so to say that Kamala Harris, who has spent the day out on the campaign trail and doing interviews, is the one who is sleepy or tired or unfit is an absolute ridiculous level of projection from Donald Trump. But of course, we are used to seeing that. Now, like I said, he was throwing this tantrum, which continued to get worse, I think mainly because of President Obama and Tim Walz. And you'll see that because he just lost his mind. Talking about President Obama right here.
Because I've watched him campaign over the last couple of days. I watched him campaign. What a divider he is, right? What a divider he is. He'd divide this country. He couldn't care less. Him and his little group of people. He was terrible. But I've watched what he's done. He's trying to campaign because she's incapable of campaigning. So they send him in to try. He's not going to do it. He also, you know who he helped? He helped Hillary Clinton. How did that work out? He came out for Hillary. So they sent out the same thing. But the fake news, they don't talk about that. They said, oh, they're bringing out Barack Hussein Obama. Oh, Barack, remember Rush? Barack Hussein Obama. Rush Limbaugh, we miss him, don't we? Don't we miss him, Peter? They're bringing out Obama. I say, oh, they did that with Hillary Clinton. Good, I'm glad they're bringing him out. The reason they're bringing him out, because he doesn't even want to do it. I think he's exhausted. I watched him talking. I think the guy's exhausted. And I never say a guy's looking old, but he's looking a little bit older, isn't he? You know, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong. But he's exhausted. He's exhausted. But you know,
I know we continue to say, how can the projection get any worse? But come on, people. How can the projection get any worse? It was President Obama who divided the country Really? That was the guy? It wasn't the president who followed him who divided the country? It wasn't the guy saying that President Obama isn't actually an American? It wasn't that guy pushing birtherism? I think you need to rethink your history, Donald. But I know what's upsetting Trump so much. I know what he sees as the division made by President Obama. It's the calling him out. That's what upsets him. And I think it's this line in particular.
Par for the course, Donald Trump's plan is to give another massive tax cut to billionaires and big corporations. And I've talked to some folks, and they'll say, yeah, but, you know, I do remember the economy was pretty good when Trump first came in office. And I said, yeah, because it was my economy.
We know how driven crazy Donald Trump is, knowing that he is one of the historically worst presidents when it comes to a whole host of factors, but on the economy specifically, his historic job loss, his complete failure, we know that drives Donald Trump crazy, the back end of his presidency. But the fact that President Obama is setting the record straight on the beginning of his presidency as well, saying that great economy, that booming economy, had nothing to do with Donald Trump. He was the one who screwed over the economy that President Obama gave him, in the same way that Donald Trump inherited billions of dollars and still found a way to screw that up too, because it's what he does. And clearly that gets him upset because he continued to attack President Obama right here.
He's a fierce man. I get along with him very well. Putin. These are people that are tough people. Kim Jong-un, North Korea, nuclear weapons all over the place. I said, you ever do anything else? Go to a game, do something, you know. He loves producing nuclear weapons. That's what he likes producing. And he's got a lot of them. And he has no respect for our leadership now. And he didn't respect Obama. He thought Obama was a real jerk. A real jerk. And I think he's a real jerk because I've watched him campaign over the last couple of...
In a previous video, we read a breaking news story from The Atlantic about how Donald Trump was talking about how he wanted his generals to be more like Hitler's. And of course, we have seen Donald Trump quote Hitler, seemingly praise Hitler. Of course, he loves authoritarians. He loves dictators. He wants to rule with an iron fist. But this is a guy who will always choose the dictator who flatters him over the American who opposes him. This is why he talks about the enemy from within, not the enemy from outside, because what Donald Trump wants more than anything is praise. And of course, President Obama isn't going to give that to him, but that shouldn't be a reason for Donald Trump to attack him. But Kim Jong-un flashes his eyelashes at you. He sends you a nice letter, and now you're putty in his hands. That is a guy who should be nowhere near the nuclear codes. And it's why so many of Donald Trump's former national security advisors are coming out against him, because they know the danger he is. And they know how susceptible he is to just absolutely lose it at the poke of his really easy to poke buttons. We can see how angry he's gotten with President Obama. And of course, he also got upset with Tim Walz here. And you can see him so upset that he's just flailing around. And let's take a look.
The stupidest man I've ever seen run for office. Is there something wrong with that guy? He's always bouncing. He's going with his heart. Yeah.
Quite literally cannot control himself at this point. He cannot control his slurring words. He cannot control his flailing body and arms. I don't know what he was trying to do there, but he was kind of off balance, looking strange. It's what we expect at this point, but man, was it weird. But what was so great about that moment is, again, what got Donald Trump so upset, and that's this clip right here from Tim Walz.
He has been rambling more than the normal rambling. He calls it the weed. Donald, come on. We know there's only one weave that you know anything about, and it is not this. It is not this. He's ducked debates, but you can't blame him. When you get your ass whipped that hard, you don't come back for seconds. You come back for seconds. He dropped out of 3 interviews, and his staff, in a moment of clarity and truth, said he was exhausted. Look, I don't care how exhausted he is, because I can promise you he's not as exhausted as the American people are of him.
Calling out his weave and calling out his weave, Tim Walz really just hitting him where it hurts. I have seen Governor Walz really go on the offensive in the last few days of this campaign. I'm absolutely loving it. This is the messaging. This is the bravado, right? This is the vibe that I want us bringing in the final days of this campaign. Get Donald Trump upset, get him off his game, get him rocking around both figuratively and literally, as we can see, because he's just driven so crazy by these attacks. That's why he's lashing out at everyone, including AOC.
You know, the Green News scam is terrible. You know whose idea that was, right? AOC, young girl, very nice person. She never even studied the environment in college. Average student at best. She was an average student. She walked in one day,
Kamala Harris is out on the campaign trail, whether with Liz Cheney talking to Republicans about unifying behind democracy, or talking to labor leaders about making sure we're building an economy for all. She's talking about the issues. Donald Trump calling AOC a bad student. Those are the differences in the closing messages. Those are the differences in the candidates. And we need to continue to talk about that. And we're going to every single day on this show. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button. You can leave a like on this video. And if you stuck around to the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.